No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone and someone cares for you. As an individualization of divine point of view, this door is open.
Good morning, everyone.
My name is Reverend Christy. I'm the Associate Minister here at Unity of the Blue Ridge. Blessed to be a part of this incredible community. Just want to welcome everyone and welcome to our live stream.
And if you want to turn around and give a wave to everybody, we've got folks watching us from all around the world. So how cool is that? And if you want to just take a moment and look at one another and just give a little namaste bow and recognize the divine in you. So we're in for a treat today. We have
The Reverend Meagen speaking today. Reverend Darlene and some of our board members are on their way back from Tennessee. They attended a Unity workshop this weekend, so they'll all be back with us next weekend. And meanwhile, we're in for a delightful treat. Let's see. Well, I think now we're just going to move into song, Peace Like a River. What's that? Oh yeah, how about an opening prayer? That's a good idea. See, I am so prayed up already this morning. So let's just keep up in prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes. I'm just going to settle into this moment. And as we're breathing in that breath, we recognize that there is only one life. God, Creator, Spirit. By many names it is called. And we are that divine expression. Complete, whole, and holy. We are the peace and the beauty, the wholeness and the harmony. All that Spirit is, we are. And we come together this day in love, in that awareness that love always makes the way clear before us, that there is an interconnectedness as we recognize the divine in one another, in ourselves and who we are and all the light that we bring to this world. And in that we create the essence of peace, which is at the core of all life. And so we move into this experience today, connecting, loving, expanding to an even greater experience of peace, knowing that all is well, Spirit is in the midst, and so it is.
Peace, love, and happiness. Okay, it's going to be one of those mornings.
I am so humbled by this moment.
The river flows.
All set. One piece like a river. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I've got peace. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Like a fountain, I got joy. Like a fountain, I got joy. Like a fountain in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. In my soul. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. In my soul.
This is who we call the Williams sister, Cat Williams and Mary Kay Williams. We've got Dave Washington, and then our band. We are so blessed. Wow. So now is a time where we invite our youth to go back and enjoy the youth program. We have Reverend Gabby and Reverend Barbara Ann here. And as they're getting ready to go, we're going to extend a blessing to them. So we rub our hands together, we open our hearts, and we say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. Have fun. It's also a great reminder that if you have cell phones with you, if you could please turn them off or set them on airplane mode. If you can do that, that really helps us out with the bandwidth and other sensitivities here. So thank you for checking that. And I wanted to share with you a few announcements. It's the holiday season, and we have lots of events happening here. This coming Friday, we have our holiday concert, and tickets will be available after the service, so please see Reverend Marty, and she will get you hooked up there. You can also purchase them online. And then the following week, we have 3 different opportunities to come together for what we're calling the Jingle Mingle. So it's an opportunity to come together, be festive. We'll have some light refreshments, an opportunity to connect, and also a perfect time to bring in any gifts for the Angel Tree program, which leads to my next announcement. There's a tree out on the table in the lobby, and this year we are partnering with ABCCM, which serves Buncombe County. And I have left some sheets out there that has a general list that you can use as a guide. And also there are tags on the tree. If you'd like to take a tag and go out and get your gift, bring them back unwrapped. Bag is okay, but unwrapped. And you can bring them to the Jingle Mingle if you're attending, and or you can bring them by the 18th, which is when the agency will come and pick them up. So gifts are already rolling in, and we continue to bless them and bless you. Thank you for that participation. Also, the Jingle Mingle, it is a requirement to sign up for that. So there are sign-up sheets out on the table because we're limited to 30 people for each event. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a couple daytimes and then one evening. Well, one like 5 to 6:30, and then the next day an afternoon one, and then an evening one. So lots to choose from. Great opportunity to come celebrate this holiday season. And so we are in the midst of Advent, and we spoke last week on hope. And this week it is peace. So would you like to light the candle? I'm going to invite Reverend Meagen to come up and light the candle for peace. And as she's lighting that, I want to share a reading with you. This is called The Way of Peace. It's by Reverend Darlene. Peace remains a goal for many individuals around the world. We often think of peace as the absence of things that disturb us. Noise, discord, trouble. If only these things were gone, surely we would have peace. However, that places the possibility of peace outside of us. It reduces and attaches peace to the circumstances and conditions around us. Peace is not found in the absence. Peace is found in the presence. Peace is and can be present wherever we are. Peace is a quality of spirit, born of our spiritual nature. Peace can be present in the midst of any situation or circumstance because we can bring the presence of peace wherever we are. That peace, a true spirit of peace, changes things. The lifelong search for inner peace calls us to learn more about our true nature and our spiritual potential. The way to peace is peace. And the Christmas story reminds us that we are here to be the way of our God nature made manifest on earth. It was beautiful.
I wish you peace when the cold winds blow, warmed by the fire's glow. I wish you comfort in the lonely time, and on arms to hold you when you ache inside. I wish you hope when things are going bad, kind words when times are sad. I wish you shelter from the raging wind, cooling waters at the fever's end. I wish you peace when times are hard, a light to guide you through the dark. And when the storms are high and your dreams are low, I wish you strength to let love flow. Oh, I wish you the strength to let love flow. I wish you peace when times are hard, a light to guide you through the dark. And when storms are high and your dreams are low, I wish you the strength to let love grow. I wish you the strength to let love flow. I wish you the strength to let love glow. I wish you the strength to let love go.
Just beautiful. Thank you, Mary Kay. Well, again, Reverend Darlene and some of our board members are on their way back from Tennessee after attending a Unity workshop. And we are blessed today to have our own Reverend Meagen Goshevsky. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Okay, this earpiece has fallen out about 30,000 times this morning, but I'm in peace. I am totally in peace. So we're gonna hopefully you all can hear me. You can hear me okay? Okay. Well, hi, my Unity family. Yay, yep, it's official. Reverend Meagen here in the house. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I tried to get my kids to call me Reverend Mama, but that didn't work so well. So I'll just keep Reverend Meagen, that's fine. So as you know, Reverend Darlene's not here, and she asked me if I could talk today. And I said, sure, what do you want me to talk about? And she said, peace. And I said, okay, all right, yeah, I'll talk about peace. That sounds wonderful. And I started going back through my notes a little bit, and I realized, wait a minute, about this time last year, she asked me to do peace. Is she trying to tell me something? Does she see in a crystal ball what's going on in my house and my mind? I don't know. But she's wise in her ways, that Reverend Darlene. So it was actually very fortuitous that she asked me to do this as well, because we were in the process of planning to go for the first time since before the pandemic to visit our family and friends in Chicago. Yeah. 9 days on an air mattress does not give one peace. But we made it, and it was good. And it was an interesting time because we had to drive 12 hours there and drive 12 hours back. Thank goodness for electronic devices, because my kids had a moment in the back and my husband kind of did his thing. And there was this one moment where I was sitting in a cornfield. I wasn't sitting, we were actually driving through. But if you've ever driven through Indiana or a lot of places in the Midwest, you can look to the horizon and see corn. And you can look all the way to the other horizon and see corn. You can see corn in front of you. You can see corn behind you. There's a lot of corn in Indiana. And that gives you time to reflect, because what else are you going to do, right? I mean, there's not a lot to do when there's just you and some corn and all your kids and your husband are quiet. And I got to write this talk in the middle of a cornfield in Indiana. And it came to me like that. And as Spirit does, I think Spirit really has a sense of humor, a real sense of humor. In fact, just this morning, I was looking at some curriculum that we had been given for our youth group, which I'm going to be working with over the next, starting in January 2022, we're going to get our teen program back up and running. And the whole curriculum that I first grabbed was on peace. So you know Spirit's got a sense of humor, right? Well, the acronym came to me for peace, just like that. Like Spirit just downloaded it, and I said, oh, I gotta write this down, and I'm like looking for a napkin in the console and trying to write down as fast as I'm being given the message. And I realized, oh, it's perfect. An acronym is perfect, because we talk in acronyms so much these days, don't we? Like when you find something funny, you LOL, you laugh out loud, right? Or when you have like that moment where you're like laughing or something excites you, you OMG, oh my goodness, or oh my gosh, or other variations, right? Or when you're really frustrated, you just WTF. Washington Tennis Foundation, you want to watch tennis, right? That's what you thought. So we use acronyms a lot, even if it's for tennis. So the acronym that Spirit gave me was P for power, E for ease, A for acceptance, C for compassion, and E for energy. And I thought, okay, I got some work to do. So let's just start. Let's start with the P for power. P for power. Now, when I talk about power, the first thing that often we think of is physical power that we can exert. So we think of our athletes, our male and female athletes that are soccer players or football or basketball or whatever, and they're really strong and athletic. But that's not the power that we're talking about today. That's the power that's inside of us. That's the power. That power is so much stronger than the exertion that we can give. And I think the perfect example of power in that way is Dan Millman. Has anybody ever read a Dan Millman book? I think the first one was called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. But there was a movie done in 2006 called The Peaceful Warrior. Had Nick Nolte, which was actually pretty big at the time, and it was labeled as spiritual cinema. And I remember my husband and he had been a big Dan Millman fan before that, so we decided to go see the movie. And the premise of the movie for Dan Millman was the book is written when he was in college, and he was an athlete, just like we talked about, and had a lot of physical power. And he was gymnastics. He did gymnastics, and he was able to do all these amazing twists and turns and twirls that they do in gymnastics. And as you have it, he had an accident on his motorcycle and broke his leg. And he was told he would never be able to do gymnastics again. Now, that was his whole ride in scholarship was for gymnastics at college. And they were going on to the state championship, and they were doing all these great things, and he was basically sat to the side because he was told it was over. So as he's in his own lamenting world and sadness and anger and all these things that we feel, he finds a gentleman by the name of Socrates, who was Nick Nolte in the movie. And Nick Nolte played this wise sage character. And he took him in, and he was a mechanic at a filling station. And he took him under his wing, and he taught him all these powerful things. But what he taught him the most was, yes, you can be strong. Yes, you can be this great athlete. But until you tame in here, you can't be as powerful as you could be. So he went on to kind of enlighten himself and study with Socrates. And I won't give you the whole thing away because it's a really good book and movie, but we'll just say that he ended up becoming a gymnast again because he was able to tame his inner power. His inner power. So remember that, your power, because we're going to circle back to it in a little bit. But I will say that there's a saying we say in New Thought, and when I use New Thought is the umbrella term of where unity comes from. So if you don't know a lot about the history of the New Thought movement, it comes from the 18th century, really 19th century. And if you're familiar with Thoreau or Emerson and the Transcendentalist movement of the late 1800s, our philosophy today comes out of that. And so we have many different ways of looking at the world, but it's all about here. If you can use affirmative prayer, if you can catch what you're thinking, if you can realize that every thought you have is actually a prayer, then you can start changing the way that you see the world. So we have a saying in New Thought that says, there is nothing more powerful than a tamed mind. Is your mind tamed? Have you tamed it? I'm still working on it. That's why I'm sitting here talking about peace, apparently. Reverend Darlene knew that. Dan Millman's quote that I think it speaks so deeply says, if you want a kinder world, then behave with kindness. If you want a peaceful world, make peace within. So that's power. Power. Well, let's move on into ease. Ease. Peace feels good, doesn't it? It just feels good. You know where you're in that state of bliss and everything just feels wonderful and you're just walking down the street and it's a bright sunshiny day in the spring and the flowers are blooming and you're just, life is so good, right? You just, that feels so good, and then all of a sudden a car drives by and splashes a rain puddle on you. And just like that, you're out of peace. And then you go on and, oh man, I got all these things I got to do, and why am I doing this walk? And our minds just go, 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 go. And we're out of peace. But yet we know it feels so good to be in peace. Why do we go over to that other side that doesn't feel good? But we can't beat ourselves up. That's the whole purpose, I think, with the ease in the E, is we have to ease back into it. We have to ease back in to that state of bliss and peace. Because if we don't, our life is going to be what we are manifesting. So if we're here, my life is so hard, guess what? Your life is going to be hard. So we got to ease back into peace. So here's a great way that I think is a good way to ease into peace. So I've talked a lot about the Q'ero tribe, which is a tribe of indigenous peoples in the Andes of Peru. And I've been very lucky to be able to study with them, and I am actually going to Peru to stay with a Q'ero family in July with some friends, and I'm very excited because everything they do is prayer. The way they walk, the way they prepare meals, the way they commune with nature and with their community, everything is a ritual for them in many ways. And so it's beautiful to be able to observe that. It's challenging sometimes to be able to live that. But they have a word that they call hucha. And hucha is dense energy that we build up when we are having conflict in our lives. So you call, Cousin Barry and you were talking about politics and, oh my goodness, why did I even get here? You're building up hucha. Or when somebody cuts you off on the red light and you're trying to get through and somebody cuts you off and you get stuck behind the red light and you get angry, you're building up hucha. The thing about hucha is, with the Q'ero tribe, they do not give it a bad or good word. They do not say, you know what, I think I'm going to switch over to can I switch over to a microphone maybe? Can you hear me? Okay, so much better. That thing was like weird on my ear. So hucha is neither bad nor good. They don't use that word. They don't label it, which is often what we do in the Western world. We say, this is bad and this is good. Hucha is not bad. It's just dense energy. We don't want to keep it. So the idea is you have to release that in order to be able to be free. And that's how you get back into peace, is you release that. Now, again, hucha is a choice. When you're standing at the grocery store in the line for 10 items or less, and somebody goes in and they have 20 items, you have a choice. You can be mad and frustrated, or you can say, maybe I'll just read People magazine for a minute. It's a choice. So we have to learn to be able to let all of that go, let go of that dense energy, so that we can be free. And that's how we ease into peace. That's how we ease. No judgment, right? There's no judgment, because it's not bad or good. So let's talk about acceptance. I gotta take a deep breath on that one. If I had been driving in the moment that that word came to me, I probably would have slammed on the brakes in the cornfield, because acceptance is hard, y'all. Acceptance. You have to accept life as life gives it to you. You have to accept life as life gives it to you. When I was in my early 20s, I'm originally from Nashville, by the way. I don't know if you all know that, but when Reverend Darlene, she sent me a little text this morning and said, good luck on your talk. And I sent her back a group of people that were line dancing that said, yeehaw, because, you know, I don't know how to line dance. I'm from there, but I don't know how to line dance. But I've always wanted to learn. But my best friend, and Leslie, who still lives in Nashville, and I called her and I said, I want to talk about you on my talk, because I know she tunes in. And I said, are you okay with that? And she said, sure. What are you going to tell them? Like how not to do it right? I was like, no, I'm going to tell them how much you are a mystic. And I'm watching you, Leslie, and I know I see you, and I love you, sister. So when we were in our early 20s and thought we knew it all, we used to go to this little coffee shop that I think is still there. It's called Bongo Java. And it was in the hip area of Nashville, and we thought we were so cool. We were drinking cappuccinos, and we would get together and talk about philosophy and spirituality and politics and all these things that, you know, really adult, educated people talk about, and drink coffee and, you know, thinking we knew all the answers to the world. And I remember this one particular night, I had moved out, I had my own apartment, and I was struggling. Life was challenging. I did not want to go home and ask for money. I wanted to do this on my own, but it was a challenge. And I remember sitting there and just kvetching, like, oh, it's so hard, and I don't have enough money to go do this, and all my friends are going out this weekend, and I have to stay home because I don't have enough money, and blah, 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 you know, just that kind of thing. And I remember she sipped her cappuccino, and she put it down in a little saucer. And she looked at me and she said, Meagen, everything in the universe is as it should be. I said, what? It was that moment where the record scratches across, you know, the needle scratches across the record, like everything is as it should be. Oh, I went on a tyrant. I had a whole moment. There's war, there's famine, there's domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. There's all these horrible things. How in the world can everything be as it should be? I still struggle with that. I still struggle with that. How can everything be as it should be? I think a perfect example of who embodies this is Morgan Freeman. You're probably wondering, how? Morgan Freeman? Well, let me tell you. So for those of you who don't know, and I think most of us all know who Morgan Freeman is, even my children know who Morgan Freeman is, because he was the sage Lego character in the Lego movie. So even my kids, when I say Morgan Freeman, they're like, oh, yeah, I know who. So everybody knows who that is. In fact, last night, or the night before, I think, I was flipping through Netflix, and he's, of course, doing another documentary on, like, the universe and the expansion or something like that. I just kind of briefly put through it. I'm like, of course, Morgan Freeman. So that's how you know Spirit, because I had been preparing my talk. That's how you know Spirit has that sense of humor, because those things just give you that little bit of, okay, that little nudge that you're going in the right direction. Did you know that Morgan Freeman did not become famous until he was 50? 50 years old? Do you know what movie that was? driving Miss Daisy. Yes, he became famous for that. Now, he had been acting for many years before that movie. Many years. We don't know young Morgan Freeman. We only know middle-aged and older Morgan Freeman, right? So we all just assume that he's this natural sage, and maybe he always was, or maybe he got to it later. But we have that idea in our head of who he is. And the reason that I'm talking about Morgan Freeman is because he has a creed in life that he said, it's a poem that was written that he had framed and put on his wall to help him accept life in the way that it is. Now, the poem was written in 1927 by a gentleman by the name of Max Ehrmann, and I'm going to really try to pronounce this right. Don't judge me if you speak Spanish. I'm trying here. It means desired in Spanish. Desiderata, maybe? Desiderata. I even listened to a tape, like I practiced it over and over again, but it means desired. And here's what the poem says. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. So what does that mean? It means sometimes things are bad, but we all know that they'll get better. This too shall pass, right? Master Teacher Jesus says, all things pass. Just because it's bad right now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. Just because it's good right now doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. We just have to accept life as it shows up. And if we can do that, we can really center ourselves in peace. We have to accept. And that's why I believe that when Spirit was giving me this, A was in the very center of the word peace. Because it's the very center of peace is acceptance. I think that the serenity prayer that we all hear, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Boy, if that's not about acceptance, I don't know what is. So we got to accept. Let's move on to compassion, C. When I think of compassion, and I just mentioned Jesus, the master teacher, in Matthew 14:14, it talks about one of the many times that Jesus showed compassion. He was about to get off a boat, and a bunch of his followers had gathered, and he saw them all as he was coming onto the shore and saw them all gathered, and it says specifically, when he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. Compassion is love. Compassion for your fellow human being. Whenever I say fellow man, my son goes, Mom, it's not just men. So he's like, you need to say human. Okay. My fellow human. My fellow human. But it's not just my fellow human that I need to show compassion to. I need to show compassion to myself. You need to show compassion to yourself. That's what compassion is about. I saw a quote the other day that I thought so perfectly summarized compassion. It was talking about self-care. And it said, self-care is not me first. It's me too. It's about taking care of myself while I take care of you, because we're all in this boat together. Compassion is also a choice. As with each of these that I've talked about, it's a choice. You get a choice. The other day I was at my grocery store. I don't know if anybody shops at Hopi or Hoppy. I never know how to pronounce it. It used to be called Amazing Stell Things. It was Amazing Things, but we called it Amazing Stell Things because everything's about to expire. And it's cheap, and they have good stuff, and a lot of it's organic. Anyway, I go there quite often, and there's this one cashier that I just love. She is so sweet, and every time I go, we always giggle while we're like loading groceries. There's just this connection. You know how sometimes you just connect with someone? And oftentimes if I go there, I will see her line, and there'll be more people there typically because she has that reputation. And so this last weekend, I was there, we had gotten back, and we didn't really have a lot of food, and I was like, oh, I'll run up there and go get some stuff. And I was sitting there, and I was like, oh, she's working, cool, I'll wait in her line. And it was longer than the other ones, but I didn't care, because I knew it would feel good. Well, I get up there, and anticipating and she doesn't even look at me, and she just starts ringing up my stuff. And I sat there for a moment, and I thought, well, I'm really exhausted. We drove 12 hours yesterday. I could just kind of just go on about my business and I'll just put my stuff up, and then I'll tell her thank you, and then I'll leave. And then there was that nudge of, no, you don't. You know that little voice, right? So I said, fine. As we do, right? I know I'm not the only one. So I said, how was your Thanksgiving? And she looked up, and she looked at me, and she saw me. And oh, it was good. How was yours? And then all of a sudden, we're just laughing and talking, and it was just like everything was always the same. And I realized I had a choice. I chose to show her compassion because I could tell she was having a really terrible day. And just in that brief moment after I left, she had a smile on her face when I walked out the door. And that made me feel good. Why does that make me feel good to make her feel good? Well, research shows. I love when you can find these types of things because we know the spiritual tradition, but we're all in our Western mind. We're like, well, does science prove that too? And yes, it does. Research has shown that practicing compassion not only makes the individual happier, it also creates an environment that elevates everyone around them. Why do you think you come to Unity every single week? When we're driving down the street and I see people turning into the Sierra Nevada Brewery, I say, wrong spirit, come back to Unity, get the right spirit. Because it feels good. That's compassion. That's why we're here. We love this place because it makes us feel good. And because we give the love, we get it back. Now, when everybody's practicing compassion, could you imagine if the whole world was practicing compassion? Oh my gosh, it would be ecstasy all the time. I don't know if we could handle it, but we could. I bet we could. I bet we can handle it. It would be amazing. So compassion. I encourage you all to just love yourself and love everyone around you. Now we're going to move to energy. So I have to clear my voice and make sure I get on my right head because I'm going to talk a bit about science for a moment. And when we were in Chicago, my husband's cousin, I can already see him giggling in the back. My husband's cousin, his wife, Eva, who I know watches because she always corrects me when I do things wrong with science. So Eva, my little heart for you. I'm going to see if I can get this right. E equals mc squared is energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. I think I got that right, Eva. The last time she said, you talked about the electron moving around the atom, and it's actually the electron moves around the nucleus. Make sure when you talk about science, you get it right. So, Einstein postulated that energy can be neither created nor destroyed. It can only take on a different form. What form are you choosing your energy? Are you choosing it for peace? Or are you choosing it for division? Energy. When we have mastered our power, the very first one, again, this is how spirit works. Power was the first one, energy is the last one. It sandwiches in all the rest. If you can learn to control your power, you can direct your energy for anything that you want. Because our energy, even science, quantum physics says what we think creates our reality. My husband yesterday was helping me a little bit with the talk, and he said, oh, there's this good quote. You should say this. Depression is about the past, anxiety is about the future, and peace is about the present. Thank you, Michael. So what can we do to move our energy towards peace? What can we do right now? It's all here. Creating our reality is right here. So I'm going to end with a story on peace. There was a very successful businesswoman who had made herself a lot of money over the years. And it had not always been easy. She had put a lot of time and energy, and as she was looking back and realizing, I've been successful, but I've put so much, I really want to focus on peace in my life right now. So she reached out to her community in the city that she lived in, and she asked all of the painters to come up with a painting that would reflect peace, and the winner would win $500,000. So you can bet. As I was reading this story, I thought, oh, I would have been painting something. Like if I could win $500,000, sure, yeah, let me put it in. It might be a stick figure, but she chooses these two paintings. She finds them. And one is of a beautiful scene of a mountain with snow-covered tops, and Bob Ross, fluffy, happy clouds and trees, and this serene lake, and the lake perfectly reflects the mountains, and everything is just so peaceful, and everyone who comments on it says, oh my gosh, it makes me feel so peaceful. And then the other painting is a similar scene with the mountains and the lake, but there's a torrential downpour. And there's a huge waterfall where it's been raining so much coming off the side of the mountain. And the lake is tumultuous and the waves are rising high. And there's this big crack of lightning that's coming down. But if you look in the very corner, right by where the waterfall is on the mountain, there's a little bird, blue jay, and she's feeding her young. And so the businesswoman was looking at the two photos. She had narrowed it down, and she called all of the people that she had worked with, and family and friends and people that she trusted that were allies and had known her for many years. And she said, these are the two. What do you think? And everybody's talking about them, and everybody's like, no, we should choose the one that makes you feel so peaceful. You just look at it and you feel peace. And she thought about it. And she went away and contemplated, and then she came back and she announced that she chose the one with the torrential downpour and the waves that were really high and all the chaos. And all of her family and friends and coworkers said, why would you choose that one? What about that makes you feel peaceful? And she said, it's the nest. The world is full of chaos. The world feels uncertain. The world can be crazy. Feels crazy right now, right? But yet, you can create peace in your own little world. And that's what, to her, the blue jay represented. It created peace. That blue jay was nurturing her young. We can be that blue jay. We can nurture our relationships with our family and our friends, our community, with ourselves. We can create peace. It's a choice. Look at that. He's so in peace. He knew I was going to look right at him. Thank you, David. Another new thought saying that we say a lot and this is, it may not have come from my mentor and minister, Reverend Joette Waters in Chicago, but she used to say it so much that I attribute it to her. Where my mind goes, energy flows. Where my mind goes, energy flows. So I give you an affirmation today that you can say. I've given you a couple, but one more I think that really is so essential as we go out into the world and spend time with family and friends, maybe some that we haven't seen before the pandemic, maybe some we're very excited to see, and others maybe not so much. But you can be a catalyst for unity. You can be a catalyst for peace. I call upon each of you to be a catalyst for peace. So let's say that right now together. Breathe in. I am a catalyst for peace. And whenever you feel the world is crazy or divisive, just remember that you are peaceful. You are divine. You are God's chosen light, or you would not be sitting here today. So let's take this in together. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Divine Creator. The many names by which you are called. We are so grateful for you. We are so grateful for this community that we call our spiritual home, and these beautiful faces around us that are so filled with light and love. And as we move into this holiday season with the hustle and bustle, may we each remember our peace. May we each choose peace with each breath, with each step. May peace surround us all. May we be a vessel for peace and a catalyst for unity. I call upon each of my family members here today to remember that they are powerful. They are able to ease back into peace. We can all accept. We can all show compassion. And we can all direct our energy to a more peaceful world. So I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for your gifts. Thank you for your message, for the ability to experience peace, and for us to remember our peace. And as Helen Steiner Rice said, peace on earth will come to stay when we live Christmas every day. Amen. Aho, and so it is.
Thank you, Meagen. And Nancy and those that have decorated for the holidays, the vision and what this tree represents is peace. So that is just an overriding energy in this place. How beautiful. And I love the practical tools. I love acronyms just for that reason. It just gives me a pocket full of tools to just pull out and use at the right time, if I remember, if I'm not tripped up in the moment. But thank you for that. It was absolutely beautiful. And I would like to invite one of our board members up to, Michael will be coming up with one of our blue boxes, which is a way to share your love offering this day. There are many ways to support this community financially. And also Tom Zinker is one of our prayer chaplains, and he is holding our sacred prayer request box. So there are forms over on the table over here by the two beautiful small trees, and you can write out a request, and that gets shared with our prayer team, our ministerial team, our prayer chaplains, and our sacred prayer circle. and also is shared with Silent Unity and held in sacred prayer. So thank you for your continued gifts and supporting our community. Tom is available for prayer following the service, and he can meet you out at the lobby if you'd like personal prayer with him. And just thank you, knowing that these gifts are blessed. And let's just share. Do we have that affirmation slide? Yeah. This is our prosperity affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. I am now in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God. Thank you. And I also want to take a moment, I did not do this earlier. If there is anybody here for the first time that would like to raise their hands, and we've got our ushers here can hand you this blue card, and it's a way for us to get your information if you'd like to be part of our weekly e-news or weekly newsletter electronically. You can do that by filling out this card. And we just want the opportunity to welcome you. Great, welcome, welcome. You know, people come from near and far to attend a spiritual community like this, and we are glad you're here. So we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you, and all of you, and all of you. Thank you. And now we have the Williams sisters once again.
Shoulders. Keep going, y'all. Oh, can you hear me now? No, really, can you hear me now? Why let this world just weigh on your shoulders? Pick it up, push it out before you put yourself in cold. Look in your eyes, in the eyes of a child, and see that love rise like a river and flow 1,000 miles. You gotta give peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, happiness. Gotta give peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness. I said, breathe in deep and feel your heart beat. Be a husband on this earth, gonna love it while it spins. Ain't got no time to worry about troubles in your mind. Just let it flow and let yourself go. If you're having a sure good time, you gotta give peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness. You gotta give peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness. A lot of people talking, need somebody to listen. Lots of people struggling. If you want to get better, then you start giving up peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness. You gotta give peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness. Oh, yeah. Play on, y'all. Yeah. take. It's not too late for loving and forgiving. Find your boys, you gotta choose to speak. It's worse than healing. Try a little kindness, thanks, and appreciation, y'all. Try a little peace and love to bring that healing to you all. Give me that peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Give me that peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and
Give me
happiness.
that peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and
Give me
happiness.
that peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Give me that, give me that, give me that
Peace,
peace, love,
love,
and
and
happiness. Give me that all on there.
Peace, love, and
Give me
happiness.
that peace, love, and happiness.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. Sing it out, y'all.
Peace, love, and happiness. Mary Kay Williams, Cat Williams, we have Dave De La Rosa, we have David Washington, we have Joel Pressman, we have Joey Dukes, and we have Pete Luttrell on drums over there. What an amazing, amazing musical blessing you are. Thank you. Well, it's a wonderful service. Thank you again, Meagen. And may you have a peaceful week. Peaceful and beautiful week. Thank you. Thank you. And so let us close with the prayer for protection. We'll put the words up there. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Is well.
Thank you. Have a beautiful week. Peace.